Welcome to Dishes2Riches. This is the third episode where you see how to run a business successfully from start to finish and all the hiccups in between. So we got a very special guest on our third show here, LC, Lenese.
Hey.
Now, your last name in Spanish is Calleea, right?
It's Calleea.
Calleea, that's
And
what you said?
but it's not even my middle name. That's not my last name. That's my middle name.
Middle name.
My name is Lenese Calleea Griffin.
Nice. Yeah. But I like the LC. That's
it just
crazy.
works. Yeah, it's my vibe.
Yeah.
My family name is Collier. My mother's name is Kelly.
Before you got started in the fashion industry, what were you doing?
I ain't never done nothing else.
Oh, really? No. So you were
I'm a fashion. I'm the fashion baby. So when I say fashion baby, I say that to say I learned how to sew when I was 6. So I had my first business. Yeah, I had my first business technically when I was 12. I made pillows, and I was always like an artist. So I would sew the pillows together. My mother would take me to Walmart. That's where I got my fabric from. Make pillows, and then I was good at like painting. I would paint like Mother's Day and Father's Day. I used to make a killing. And I was like 7th grade and 8th grade. It would be a big pillow. They could choose the size. They could choose the shape. They could choose the color. And I would customize and I would put their parents' name on there. So I would sew the pillows and then I would paint the pillows. And I sold them for like $20. The bigger the pillow, the more it costs. But I started there. And then in high school, I kind of got into making like skirts and shirts. So I went from doing like pillows and home decor in elementary to high school doing like skirts and shirts. I only felt comfortable. Then by the time I got to college, I was good. I started making more dresses, more pants, and this is just things that my grandmother taught me. And then I went away to school, and I got into a fashion modeling organization, and I just wanted to make the clothes. I didn't really want to model, but they told me that I had to be in the organization in order to make the clothes. So I ended up having to do a fashion show and like walk the runway, but then the second one, they let me make a lot of the stuff. And then my degree is in design.
You're going really quick.
Yeah.
You're going really quick. Let's backtrack.
Yeah, I was like, my degree's in design.
How did you get, so you were 6, you said, right?
Yeah.
When you made your first, like.
Yeah, the first thing.
But what inspired that is what I'm saying. Like, how did you get to that?
I would say I'm a lover of creation.
Creation.
People ask me all the time. I was like, I ain't really into design as people think I am. Like, I'm into making things. I'm into creation. I like being able to see something that's like 2-dimensional. Like a sketch or a drawing and be able to make it
You were attracted
3-dimensional.
to that.
I'm attracted to making something out of nothing. And I saw pretty much my grandmother and my mother do that my entire life.
Oh, okay, so your mom and your grandma.
Yeah, make something out of nothing.
You used to see them stitching?
Not my mother. She wasn't doing that. When I say make something out of nothing, she could turn $1 into $100, but my grandmother.
Oh, your mom used to be in business?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Well, not in business. She was like a serial job person. Like she worked in sales. She worked at MGD. Okay. So she was a single mother. So she took care of me and my sister. And I always seen her just turn something into nothing. Everything that we do, like she'd make like some of the smallest things fun. But my grandmother was
smallest things fun. I like that.
Yeah, like we go to like the smallest things, like going like to the store to get like a slice of pizza and going bike riding and going to like back in the day when Blockbuster was a thing. That was our thing.
She was into adventure.
Yeah, we would ride a bike, go to Blockbuster to get movies, and then go to Pizza Hut.
Remember Blockbuster?
Yeah.
For Batman?
Yeah, go to Pizza Hut. Like, that was like her. Like, she would always do fun things. And then my grandmother was more of like the crafter. Mm-hmm. So she would crochet socks. She would do knitting. Like, around Christmas time, we did a lot more because those were her gifts. She would always hand make.
So your grandmother inspired you on
my
that kind of stuff. You watch, you're like, you were a little girl, like,
yep, my grandmother. Yep, my grandmother.
You were very curious with things like that.
Yes, I've always been very curious about just how to make something. Because she would make, I ain't gonna say it's weird stuff, but she used to make, you know how like you hold, what we used to, because they don't sell them no more. You know how like plastic bags from the grocery store?
Yeah.
Like you just like keep getting them and then you keep saving them and saving them and saving them. She made a chute for it. Like she took a piece of fabric and she made like this long tube thing and you would stuff the plastic bags in there and it literally hung in the kitchen. Wow. So she would just find solutions to things like, I'm tired of all these plastic bags, I guess, sitting underneath the sink. I'm going to make a chute. So that way it pulls out like a tissue box. So if you actually do need it, like you could pull it out. It was just a piece of fabric. It had elastic at both ends. It had like a hook on it. And it was just something that she saw a problem and she created a solution for it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that was like the thing I always wanted to like, well, I mean, we got a problem with something, we can get a solution. And my mother and my grandmother, both very short, under 5'0", but very curvy. So finding clothes was always an issue for them. So the way I learned how to sew was I learned by altering clothing. Because they never could, my mother had to alter everything because she's too short. My grandmother had to alter everything. She's like 4'11". So them being short and curvy is always hard for them to find clothes. So that's really how I learned how to sew.
I can relate to that a little
doing
bit.
alterations.
I'm slim and skinny, I relate to a little bit because sometimes it's easy to find, but I wanted to look a certain type of way.
Yeah.
So it's like, but most of the time they do have my fit.
See, y'all might be easier than women
because
I can't fit nothing at Zara.
Where?
Nothing at H&M. Like those clothes don't fit me right.
Too slim.
It's too big. If I try to go a size too big, it just don't fit right. If it goes too small, like I just don't fit any of those clothing at all. Like I'm just used to buying, and I know my body type. I know what brands work for me. It's not that many brands that work for me. Over the last, I would say maybe eight years, there has been a lot more Black designers, and they really, to me, make clothing for Black women.
Is this your fit, by the way?
No, this is a Black brand though. I got this from Lux Life. They're based out in Texas. Okay. Yeah, both actually. No, this is from what's the other one? It's in Philly. I think it's called Love Yourself Boutique, but both Black women. So I feel like they know how to make clothes for them. And in the past, all we see is big fashion brands, usually based out of Europe, that have like European cuts, like your Gucci's and your Louis Vuittons, and even like on a lower level down to like your Alexander Wang, your Helmut Langs, which are more contemporary. That stuff just does not fit Black women the way it should. Right. So you spend thousands of dollars making something, and then you still got to go get it altered. If I'm going to spend a lot of money, I don't really want to have to do that, I want it to fit.
All right, so in around 6, you got inspired, your light bulb, curious. Then 16, 15.
Still making stuff,
you were making stuff.
Yeah, I was a cheerleader too.
You were making money, you were selling stuff?
Yeah.
Like for, you said Father's Day? Father's
Day and Mother's Day. I sold them year round. People would get them like on special occasions, but I made a killing Mother's Day and Father's Day because it was a cheap gift and it was customized. So something like, okay. Yeah, so you were inspired to building money. I relate to that because growing up, a lot of my uncles were in business. I had my uncles in business and music. Okay. Nice. So music inspired me. Because a lot of my uncles on my mom's side played keyboards, they were in bands. So and they were in church playing keyboards, so I inspired that. Yeah. My family they ain't the most creative family. I think I wanted the opposite. I'm from the south side of Chicago, so I grew up around, most of my uncles been spending half my life in jail, and then the rest of them either in or out of, recovery homes and stuff like that. So I just wanted something different for myself than what I saw. So now I didn't grow up around entrepreneurs or anything like that. It's just something that I wanted to do. But your grandma was? No. She wasn't.
Your mom was.
My mom, she just worked a lot. Yeah, nobody was an entrepreneur. Yeah. But I think also a part of me seeing the way we grew up and a little struggle here and there. I ain't say I had a bad childhood. I'm just gonna say it's not what I wanted. Yeah. I saw something different for myself, which is why I wanted something different.
That's awesome. Yeah. So then you never had like me, like I was inspired by music and business and money. I see money, making money. But when I was 16, obviously that's the age of getting a job, whatever. So
I got a job when I was 13.
16 or 17, I don't remember. But I think it was around there.
17, I had a job by then.
16, McDonald's, Burger King. Never did anything like that?
No, I did. So, but I got my first job when I was like 13 because along with like making the stuff on the side, I used to go to work with my mother or I used to babysit. My mother worked, like I said, she worked a lot of places. She worked at the vending machine company. So I could go to work with her and she would just pay me, to help her stuff the vending machines at all these different hospitals. Okay. Then I had my babysitting money. I would say by the time I got 15, I worked at Rave Girl, so still fashion. It was a retail store. I did work.
That was here in Brooklyn?
No, I'm from Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah, so Rave Girl, and then I did work at McDonald's.
In Chicago.
I did work at McDonald's though. Oh, yeah. I worked at McDonald's for like a year. I worked at McDonald's right after Rave Girl. Yeah. After I left Rave Girl, because they was playing around with them hours and stuff, I liked it because you got to be around clothes all day. But like you said, I'm 16, I want money, I want to be able to buy the things that I want. And McDonald's had like the hours. Like you could get a 40-hour work week at 16. And I was down with that. And I did do it at first. And then my mom was like, what the hell? Like, you can't be working all those hours. I worked from 3 to 11. I got out of school at 2, so I literally had a full-time job when I was 16. And then I was tired, and she called them and told them I couldn't work that late because she wasn't picking me up that late. So she made them cut my hours down. She was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I want to buy nice stuff."
Because you wanted to buy nice stuff.
I wanted to buy nice stuff, and then my mom and my stepdad divorced, and then we had to move out of this really nice house because we was in the South Side of Chicago. She met this Jamaican dude. Right. They got married. We moved to the suburbs. So I got a taste of that suburban life. Right. So once I was in the suburbs and there's like this big house and stuff like that. They got divorced like a year and a half later. And then we had to move, and I'm just like, we got to move to a small house. And this time I got a little bougie. And then I transferred to high school. So at high school, everybody had a car. Right. Like everybody. So I got to keep up. So I wanted to work because I need a car too. And I did. I ended up buying my own car when I was 16.
When you had those jobs, like the McDonald's thing, that was probably short term, right?
Well, I worked at McDonald's for a year and a half. Like a year and a half. When you had it, were
you thinking big? Because I know when I was flipping burgers, I was looking at the money. I don't know, but would you like think? Because I was seeing it, and I saw that white man come once a month
and pick up the money.
Pick up a bag. He picked up a bag, boy.
I would say yeah, because.
So would you inspire? Because I was inspired. Like I want to pick up a bag every month. You know what I mean?
I was inspired to do my own thing, to have multiple streams of revenue.
That's what I was on. So I was also there, like, damn, why am I want to do this for myself. Every time I had a job, I was like, I got to do this shit for myself.
Yeah, I think that was always my mentality. I think I always wanted to be an entrepreneur in different formats. Because at first it was just design. I mean, I never knew that I would have like a consulting company. That wasn't really the first thing. It was design. Then for a while, back in the day when music videos was like a thing, because I grew up also dancing too, I wanted to make clothing and make routines for like music videos. Because in my mind, you got to understand body movement in order to dress people. So I wanted to choreograph routines and then design the costumes for concerts, for videos. But then like the video thing kind of went out with the growth of like YouTube and like digital stuff. So people stopped making videos as much and all the countdown shows went away. Like Once It's a Park and Raps. Like that's what I wanted to do. That. I kept in mind like I could always do it for concerts, but in my mind, I guess I didn't think it was going to be consistent income. Yeah. And even as much as I love dance, I didn't see it having a much of a dollar sign attached to it, even though I felt like I had a strong idea. I think I just kind of got away from the dance portion of it and just wanted to make clothes. But I was like, I don't know if I want to do this dance thing. I don't know if it's going to make me no money. But clothing, people can't, in my mind, it was like people can't go around naked. And I would get that whole, you going to school for fashion? You like fashion? What you going to do? Pick out clothes. But in my mind, it was always just like, well, no one can walk around naked. It doesn't necessarily have to be fashion because there is a difference between fashion and apparel. People need apparel.
I'm relating that to real estate when you say that. Somebody got to live somewhere. Somebody got to dress.
Exactly. Like we don't live in a society where you can walk around naked. People still need, like outside of fashion, people still need underwear. Yeah. They need t-shirts. They need socks. They need something to sleep in. So you got a passion for knitting and like you got to have something to put on.
Creating something. Then you saw a need. Hey, people need to dress.
People have to dress. Exactly. You can't walk around. People need uniforms for their jobs. Like there's always going to be money in clothing. Like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean money in fashion because the economy goes bad. People don't necessarily buy expensive things, but people are always going to buy those necessities, socks, panties, T-shirts. You know, they go on vacation, they might need a swimsuit, they need a bag, so people are always going to need something that has a fabric base, regardless of whether they're fashionable or unfashionable. You have to put on something.
Nice. So that high school time, when you graduated high school, you went to college for this? Mm-hmm. So
I went to Columbia College, Chicago, for fashion design. Yeah, and
you said I'm a chase this dream.
Yeah, and
did you think of the name? Obviously, you put the LC thing. You're at that time, or that was later.
LC came way later. What came first was Calleea Batine, which is my brand.
Calleea.
Yeah, my middle name Batine. So Batine is my grandmother, and
I'm popping up the website here. I like the website.
Yeah, that's this one. So Calleea Batine
I'm going to post this.
Is my brand, and that was first. It was my middle name combined with my grandmother's name. My grandmother, I have a grandmother named Ernestine, and I have another grandmother named Berta. So I put the teen together because they call her Batine. So Calleea Batine is me and my grandmother together. Calleea Batine.
Now in Spanish is LL is ch. Calleea.
Okay.
But Calleea, I like that little accent right there.
Yeah, that's my homage to my grandmother forever. Yeah. She the one who taught me how to sew. But also,
this video is actually back there, right?
No, it was at the studio previously when you guys came and we were moving out.
Okay.
That was at the previous studio. Yeah. Because it looks the same, similar. We kind of tried to decorate it back the way it was.
Gotcha.
But yeah, LC definitely came down the line. Calleea Batine was always my first baby because at first the only thing I could see was being a fashion designer. Now, what happened was I was only doing custom at the time. So I did a lot of prom. I did a lot of weddings.
So at that time when you went to college for this, did you were you in the business of fashion?
Yeah, I was.
You
doing
wasn't
custom.
working at McDonald's.
I wasn't working at
that
McDonald's.
time.
I was just going to school. I was making clothes, and I was
So
working.
people would call you, or you would. Hey, I need this for prom.
I worked in retail though, because in college.
Oh, okay, retail.
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
in college, I was honestly, I ain't no different from I am now. I do a lot of stuff now, but in college, I worked at Wet Seal.
Yeah.
I worked at the Office of Degree Evaluation, so I actually worked on campus. And then I took 5 classes, and then I made clothes on the side. So like that was like my thing. So if I was at Wet Seal, and you know, at Wet Seal, I'm a sales associate, so I'm trying to help people. If I can't help you find nothing you like, I would then throw myself in there. I'm like, well, I could make you something. So that was my way of like networking and putting my name out there, because it's like, okay, well, you come in here, you're looking for something to wear for your birthday or whatever. If you can't find anything, well, what would you like? What would be your ideal thing? I can make it for you. So that's pretty much how I build my clientele. I build my clientele by working in a retail store where people are looking for clothes. And even if they wasn't going to maybe get something custom made for me at that moment, they'd remember me. I had my business cards, and then maybe they would hit me up another time to make something. So it was really word of mouth. Back then, it wasn't really social media driven. But I met so many people because I worked in the inner city of Chicago. I worked downtown Chicago. So you got tourists, you got people from other cities, you got other colleges down there, you got people who work down there, they're in corporate America. So I got a lot of different people that would come into the store, and I would give them my card and just talk myself up.
Yeah. I relate to that because when I started like making beats and things like that back then, that was like after college. I was thinking, what am I gonna do, type of thing. I was thinking, okay, I like business, I like making money, I like entrepreneurship, and the talent of music. I like that idea. So I kind of mixed it and started dabbling into that field. I started with a little bit of acting.
Oh,
personally.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you use acting?
A little bit, but then I didn't pursue. I just went straight to the music thing. I got internship with P. Diddy. I know he's in trouble now.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I was into it with his, he had a crew called The Hitmen.
The Hitmen.
So I interned for him.
Was Stevie J in that crew?
Stevie J, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then, so then after that, I had a little studio at the house. I got a lot of debt. I got into a lot of debt with credit cards. I don't know if you got into debt with.
Oh, hell yeah.
I got into debt to get, machines and things like that, to make beats, keyboards, you know what I mean? And same thing. So
I think that is edible.
local artists, contacted me. Yeah, I want to record. Yeah, I can record you $30 an hour, $40 an hour, and started doing that thing.
Okay.
Then that led to me working at a bigger studio where I met a lot of big artists, J-Lo, Mark Anthony, things like that.
I love J-Lo.
So it's like you said, it's like you just keep feeding the beast.
Yeah.
And your beast is your passion or your idea. Keep chasing it, and they'll keep.
And I do think that sometimes you got to pivot, because I used to do custom,
Pivoting
and then I was just like, okay, these people getting on my nerve, because I think doing custom clothing is hard, especially prom. Prom is like probably the hardest thing to do, because the mother and the mother or the father is typically the ones paying for it. But then the child wants what they want. So I'd have people, and this is when I was doing it out of my house.
That's a big business.
Arguing. It's a big business, but they're like, I would spend 6 or 7 hours with the parents and the daughters arguing about what they want.
Yeah, I can see that.
I ain't got time for this.
I can see that. And females are very emotional.
Females are very emotional. So like, it was just a lot. They're on the tight, or they try to get you at the last minute. They want a tight time frame. They show you a picture of like a celebrity who don't have the same body type as them. And it's like, well, I can get close to this, but I'm not gonna, like, you're never gonna look exactly like this. Like, you don't have the same body type. But also, if I look at a picture of something, I don't know what the fabric is. I'm guessing. And then a lot of times pictures are edited. Color is different. Lighting is different. So with the custom thing and somebody always showing me a picture, I'm just like, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Like, that doesn't tell me exactly what you want. I need you to choose. Like, this the fabric you want, this is the silhouette you want, this is the fitting. Like, because a picture doesn't really help me that much. I don't know what that is. And if you think that you are a 3X and you're going to look like Beyonce, it's just not going to happen. I would get that too. And I'm just like, well, you asked me to make it tighter to the point where you sit down and you bust out of it, then it's my fault. When I told you, hey, probably should make it that tight. You still got to walk.
You got to make it look the best for them.
Yeah, and then I would get people who would get mad and they would complain if I did not want to do it, not make it tighter. But then when I did make it tighter and then it break or it ripped, then it's my fault. And it's just like, well, what I said was that we shouldn't do that.
You gotta listen to you.
So I found that I got really stressed. I had a lot of clients. I had moved here by this time. Like I graduated high school. I graduated from my my bachelor's degree. I came out here to get my master's, but I still had a clientele in Chicago. So now I'm building up the New York clientele, the Chicago clientele. So I got about 10 prom dresses in Chicago. I got about 10 prom dresses here. I'm traveling back and forth. But
this is before social media?
This is before social media, but I'm also still working. So by the time I graduated, I got and worked right in the fashion industry. So now I'm working for a company that does product development and production for hosiery. So I have a regular job. I'm in production. I got this side hustle where I'm building these dresses and making all these special occasions. And I got so overwhelmed and I just got really tired. And I got tired of going back and forth to Chicago that I'm just like, I need to stop for a minute and just focus on just working in product development and working in production for corporate companies and learn. You know, because me having a custom business, I'm really learning everything on my own. I'm learning how to understand contracts. I'm, trying to get better with customer service. And I think I was good at customer service at a job, but it's different working with your own clientele. And I was really young. I was 23. I was still trying to figure it out. So I just took a break. And in my break, I just worked. And I worked in the fashion industry. That's when I worked for Calvin Klein. I worked for Karl Lagerfeld. I worked for Ralph Lauren. I worked for a lot of different brands to just learn. Like,
you
let me just learn.
Oh, one of them?
Well, it's so funny these days. Most Ralph Lauren, yes, because he still owns his company. But most of the time, they don't own their companies. They have licenses and they pay licensee companies and brand out their name. So Calvin Klein doesn't own Calvin Klein. PVH Group at that time owned Calvin Klein.
Gotcha.
And then right now, G3 owns, Calvin Klein. So depending on the license, people license out their name to a licensee company that specializes in something. So I specialized in handbags and outerwear. So the company I worked for, we did handbags and outerwear for Calvin Klein. So the only person I actually met was Ralph Lauren because he still has the same office up in 56. He's still there. He still be walking around.
That's a whole different
business. Oh yeah, because people.
It's like kind of like a franchise.
It's kind of like a franchise, but it's like it's a way for you to make money if you don't know the expertise. Like people will license out their name for shoes. If you're a fashion designer, you probably know how to make clothes. You probably don't know how to make shoes. So the best thing for you to do is to license out to a company that actually makes shoes. Correct. And then you could collect the royalty off of it. So a lot of brands do that. Like they focus on one particular area of something and then they license their name out. Like that's how you get brands that have fragrances, brands that have cosmetics, brands that have jewelry, timepieces. Like they're not actually designing those things. They're actually doing it in a licensee capacity so that they can actually make money off of it. But they're not the ones designing, manufacturing, or producing it.
Wow. Yeah, we can make beats with that sound right there. Boy. I just heard it.
It's a garbage can.
So how did you then from gap it from that to starting this? What you got here?
What did I do? I didn't even know what I was doing. Okay.
Like in between that, you were probably doing.
I continue to work.
You had people like my cousin, me and my cousin Manish. William came out with that idea with that brand Manish. You probably had other people, I'm sure, like us.
Yeah, I've been doing
who
this.
had ideas of coming up, and then they contacted you.
Well, yeah, I've been doing this for almost 8 years.
Right.
So over 8 years, I've done product development production for 567 brands. So I've been doing this for a long time. I had a big spurt in the pandemic. So 2020 to 2021, I did at least 300 to 400 brands. What happened? I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I've done a lot. I'm like, when I tell you I've been making clothes for a long time. Now, I worked my way up the fashion chain. So by the time I started this, I was already a product development manager at this company called Panties Plus Inc. I specialized in sleepwear, intimate apparel.
I want to get into that with Manish.
Sleepwear, Sleepwear, intimate apparel, bras, panties, all of that stuff. So I was working in the industry. I didn't feel, fulfilled, if that's the way to put it. Like, I can make clothes for all these big brands, but what about the small brands? I think that was always in the back of my mind. It's just like, I know a lot of designers clearly because I've been in the design world. I had already started doing the Black and Fashion podcast. My podcast has been running just as long as I've had my business because I started there about just putting it on notice. Like there are Black creators out there. We need the same resources. So I think because working in the industry, I knew about factories. I knew where to get fabric. Like I knew all of these different places. Like, well, let's put this out here. Let's help other brands, smaller brands that maybe don't even know that this is an option. And because I know how to do everything, I can help them. So I think the first thing I did was I created a tour to show people like that you could do this in New York City. You don't have to go to China to make clothes. You could do it right here. So I started doing it here first.
Social media was around?
Yes, this is what social media around. This is like 2000 and, maybe like 17.
YouTube started popular in 2001.
This is like 2016, 2017, where I'm just like, there's a need for people to be able to create their garments too, because not everybody can sit at a sewing machine all day. You can't scale a business sitting at a sewing machine all day. So all the designers I know, they stuck behind the sewing machine. They can't do no marketing. They can't scale. They can't make a whole bunch of units because they're the only ones sewing, but they're thinking that that's the only way. And so I'm like, okay, well, there's other ways, you guys. You could work in factories. You could work with someone like me. So what I did was I wrote down everything I knew how to do. Pattern making, sewing, fabric sourcing, like everything I was very experienced in. It was on a notepad on my iPhone. I screenshotted it.
Okay. So you wrote down what
I wrote everything I knew how to do.
You know how to do.
And I screenshotted it and I put it on Instagram.
You put it on Instagram?
Yeah, I screenshotted it, put it on Instagram and Facebook. I was just like, I'm now offering all of the above services. It was very plain. And I had no logo. I don't even think I had a name yet. It wasn't LC Consulting. It was just like, this is what I know how to do. You know, if you're interested, send me a DM. And from there, it turned into a business. So it started on my regular Instagram. There was no LC Instagram. It was just my regular Instagram. And then I was at work one day and I was talking to one of my coworkers and I was just like, I think I really like this like consulting thing. Like I've been getting little clients here and there. I originally, the way I used to get clients is I would go to Craigslist. Craigslist got like this gig section where you can go and like people are looking for people to do certain work with them. So I would go to the gig section. And I would put in like sewing and pattern making. It was like a list of people who needed people to sew for them and who needed people to make patterns for them. So I was just hitting those people up. I started with hitting those people up. That's how I got my first couple of clients. And my coworker was like, well, why don't you separate the Instagrams? Because you got like your personal stuff on here. Yeah. Then you got like this business stuff on here. You know, maybe people are confused. So I separated the Instagrams and I made an actual LC page. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just call it my name. I was thinking LC, but I also was thinking about education because I like to teach. So I was also thinking about learn your craft. Like learning your craft is like a thing, which is also LC is learning craft. So I was like, well, let's just do LC Consulting. Made the Instagram page, and I just started posting. Like anytime I went to the garment district and I was sourcing fabrics, anytime I was pattern making, anytime I was sewing, I would just put it out there. And then next thing you know, I created a name. I created a logo for it. I got laid off my job. So when I got laid off.
Apartment or?
Yes, I lived in a brownstone. The first level of brownstone, just in Bed-Stuy. I was doing everything there. But when I originally started, I was living in the Bronx. I had a little loft and I was doing everything up there. Gotcha. And I just started making stuff. And
so how many years have been in this right here?
This has been so.
Not this place, but
full-time entrepreneurship for this 6 years.
6, okay.
Yeah, since I opened my doors to the public. Yeah, this is my third studio. Actually, that's the second one. The first one, but they all been in this area, in Bushwick area. So I started on Ingraham, then I moved to Johnson, and then we moved over here. Over there when I was over there. You selling products on your site too, like? Yeah, that's my brand. Yeah. So I sell, my website is my name just because I have 4 businesses. Yeah. So I have the brand, I have the podcast, which is a media company. I got a not-for-profit.
Promote your own podcast.
Yeah, my podcast is called Black in Fashion. So,
what is it?
Black in Fashion.
Black in Fashion.
Black in Fashion. I changed it from Black in Fashion Podcast to Black in Fashion Media last year. So now we go under that because now we have a...
That's why you're so good at this.
Yeah, we have a quarterly. We have a quarterly. I've been doing that for 6 years too.
I like that.
I have 180 episodes.
Yeah.
Of just like interviews. It's on YouTube, Apple,
you got a really nice website.
Thank you. Yeah. So between that and then I have a non-for-profit, which is called Black Girls Designer Club. We offer resources and mentorship to young girls. I also do summer camps, fashion summer camps. So I just turned myself into a little serial entrepreneur.
That's awesome.
And that's all things fashion. So fashion media, non-for-profit, brand, everything.
When you said you were in Bronx first with a place like this.
Oh, this is your third. It was in my home at that point.
Oh, and then...
I went from my home to a different home because I moved to Brooklyn. And the only reason why I moved to Brooklyn was because of the business. I had so many clients in Brooklyn. Gotcha. I was always in Brooklyn. I shot the podcast in Brooklyn. So, and I ended up dating a guy in Brooklyn. So when I moved to Brooklyn, the business really did take off because now I was more localized people. And then I got a bigger place. So I had the front room was where I would teach sewing. I would do like my services.
Oh, you would teach as well?
Yeah, that's another part of it. I told you I put that on there. I put sewing classes. Like, because some people don't want to sew.
You figure out ways to generate revenue. It's not just one way.
Yeah, I got multiple ways.
Multiple ways within the same
genre. I call it, I call it, I 360 my business, if that makes sense. So I consult. I actually do a service. I offer mentorship. I offer products too. So not my clothing products, but LC offers like tech pack kits. We offer like pattern making kits. We offer like sloper kits. So LC has its own set of products. And then I have my clothing brand who has its own set of products. But I figured out how to make LC make money through events. So I do a lot of events. I do a lot of seminars. We teach classes here. We offer coaching here, and we provide a service here. So we have a lot of different ways of making revenue.
And the consulting, what you're doing with Manish.
But it's kind of both because we're doing two things. We're consulting, but we're actually acting as a factory as well because we're making all the products. Consulting is just me telling you what to do, but we're actually making the products as well. So
you've had various brands.
I do both for it. So we do both. So if you pay for the consulting, then we take a more hands-on approach. If you don't pay for the consulting, that means that you know what you're doing. You're just directing us to do. So some people that have more experience, they don't pay for coaching. They don't pay for the coaching and the advice and stuff like that. They come straight to the door. The people that are more experienced, they don't need the
you to have, like, I guess, your connections.
Yeah, they like just
or
do
your
this
talent in certain things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if they don't, we get people that are coming and don't know anything, then we do have to do the coaching. We have to kind of take the lead in the design and the wording, the vocabulary, because they can't really articulate to us exactly what it is that they want. So that's where the consulting comes in. Well, this makes sense for the market. And then because I'm very well versed in the market, I'll tell you what works, what doesn't work, what I'm seeing trending wise, what doesn't trend, what fabrics work. But if you're not getting the consulting, I ain't gonna say nothing. It's just like, okay, well, you know what you're doing.
They know. So whatever happens is there.
Exactly.
It's more on their fault than on yours.
Exactly. But consulting wise, but to me, it makes more sense to get to consulting if you're not up to date. Like for me, I'm a teacher. I work at FIT. I'm a professor. I'm surrounded by education. I'm also a grad student. I'm getting a master's right now in global fashion management. So I read a lot. I'm very in tune with what's going on in the industry. I know what's happening in every market, whether it's swim, athleisure, swim, intimates. I'm very versed. I'm a merchandiser. Merchandising is having the right product at the right place at the right time for the right consumer.
Beautiful.
Merchandising and design is not the same thing. Yeah. And that's what people get messed up. They know how to design, they don't know how to merchandise. So I know how to merchandise. I know how to develop products. I know how to do production. So I'm very business-minded, but I understand design process because I am also a designer.
Gotcha.
And usually you don't get both. Like you got someone who they know design or they know business. I have went the extra mile with the education side. I even have a certification in fashion law. So I know if you need a trademark, if you need a copyright, if you need a patent, like how to protect your intellectual property. So I'm very education driven. So I do a lot of school. I'm still in school. I teach school. I take courses. I did the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. I know how to run things operationally. So I'm a little bit of a nerd.
You do a lot.
I'm a little bit of a nerd. I like to read and I love to learn. Mm-hmm. And I like to stay up to date in business because I feel like you got to always be a student of the business.
You're in the shower probably thinking of ideas, right?
Always. I think I dream about ideas. I think about different ideas. My lawyer told me.
That's part of what it takes to be in
my lawyer told me I need to shut up. She was like, you need to stop giving people your ideas. I'm just like, they're going to do it.
So that's like that's your day-to-day. Pretty much doing a lot of different things, right?
Yeah, I have a very hectic. I mean, I just came back from Costa Rica yesterday. And then I went straight to class because I had to give my final marketing presentation on my brand. So I have class in the evenings. I teach classes during the day. And in the middle of the day, I'm either here or I'm here in the mornings. I'm always here on like the weekends. The podcast stuff I usually do on Fridays. The not-for-profit stuff I do on Tuesdays. I shoot all my brand content on Saturday and Sunday. That's why you have that
link that you send me. Make sure you click here.
I'm like, please, because I don't have it in front of me, and I have a lot of different calendars from all the different businesses. I gotta get that for myself, Because it's easier that way, because at least the days that I'm available is there, you know? And I'm like, okay, I got time at that time. But if it's not on there, that means that I'm probably in class and working, maybe doing something for my brand, not in the country. I got a lot of clients that don't live in New York. So it's like I travel to them too. They pay those travel fees. So I have a lot of clients in Atlanta, Texas, Chicago. I still have clients there. I have clients in LA. And then I get flew out to do seminars. I taught in Bali, a fashion inventory management workshop. I'll go to LA and I teach. So I do a lot of teaching in different countries too within the fashion world.
What is like one thing that the customers, most of your customers on average, majority, rave about? Like what's like the most like, out of all the things that you do, what is it something?
They love the education piece because I'm not just,
she's good at it.
It's the education. It's the education? It's the education piece because it's like I know how to run the business. Now after we've designed a beautiful collection, how we gonna sell it? That's the part that I would think that people like.
When you say teaching, because you do so much of stuff.
Yeah, my clients. I'm not talking about my students. My students is in college. They're not making no money. They're kids. They're freshmen. They're sophomores. Like they're not graduating. But because I technically,
there's so many things under that umbrella. When you're saying teaching, you're
teaching here
sewing?
Under the LC. No, teaching them how to run a business.
How to run a business. In fashion.
In fashion. So my coaching, consulting comes with a whole curriculum. What we build out is we build out a sales plan for you. We do an assortment plan for you as well. We do all the costing for you, which is what we're doing for Minish as well.
So a designer that's inspired to create his own brand in fashion can come learn from you.
Yes.
How to run a business, how to run. And they have to come here to...
No.
It don't matter. It could be Zoom.
It could be virtual.
Here, Zoom.
Yeah, because I have
people... And they can learn from you, but they got to dedicate time to log on.
Well, I always say
obviously, right?
Your success depends on you. So when you have that coaching program...
Your success depends on you.
You got 4 sessions with me a month.
4 sessions a month.
How you choose, in a 1 hour session, how you choose to utilize those sessions, which you should, because they're very informative and I'm giving you things to do. Because while we're making the products, there's so much stuff that you can be doing. You could be creating a marketing plan I put out for you. You could have been, I give you templates for everything. You could be working on your sales plan. So while I'm working on creating the perfect garments and going through my process, you should be going through the business process. I'm
just thinking already ahead. So it's a numbers game. Everything's a numbers game. So out of all the people that come and learn from you, right, over the years, there's probably a handful of them that has some kind of success in something. Like they branch out, they have their own.
Yeah, the line have their own brands. Yeah, I have a lot of brands that are successful. A few. Gym Slut is really great. They're based out of Houston. West McCoy is really, really great. They're based out of Atlanta.
So they have their own group of customers.
Yeah, I have quite a few. I would say Serene Serenity is really good. They're a loungewear brand based out of Vegas.
That not just hired. They didn't hire you for consulting. They hired
me for both.
Everybody
I learned, I did both. I did the education and I made the products.
Classes.
They did the coaching.
Zoom coaching.
Yeah, they did the Zoom coaching.
Gotcha.
And I made their products. So I did their product development, their production, and they did the consulting. Yeah. The ones that did not do the consulting and just had me make their samples, and then they have these samples and now they don't know what to do with them, those are the ones I would not name because those are the ones that are not successful.
Because they're probably not. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
you get what you put in. Right?
You get what you put in. Yeah, if you just design and you don't think about that as a brand, design is like 10% of it. Sales, marketing, merchandising, production, logistics, distribution. There's a lot of different things. But people always just think about design. I'm just like, well, how are you going to distribute the product? How do you even know logistically wise how many mediums to make? How many smalls to make? What market research have you even done? What do you know about your market? What is your market? Because I've asked a lot of fashion designers what their market is, and then they'll tell me women's. Women's what? Women's evening, women's swim, women's
There's so
casual,
many categories in that umbrella.
Exactly. Women's what? Like, what do you mean? And then you just saying women's. Do you mean juniors? Do you mean Missy? Because women fall into different categories. Because I don't know why when you think
of women and I'm thinking business, for me, because like I said before, the lingerie, the underwear. For me, I don't know. That's where my head goes. So if you ask me to take play, I'd be like, lingerie. What type of women? Lingerie.
But then lingerie and intimates is different.
And, okay, I see
that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, lingerie is one thing. Intimates is something different.
I get you.
You know?
But I'm thinking everything in the line of bikinis, bathing suits.
See, and that's different.
That's a whole different line?
That's swimwear. That has nothing to do with lingerie. Those are two different markets.
No, obviously. And there's two types of lingerie. Is it regular?
Lingerie is just one market in itself. And lingerie is really just like teddies and like slip dresses, whereas like intimate is more like bras, panties. But you can have intimate bras and panties like cotton based, but then you could also have lace and mesh.
I want to make a panty with the logo. The panty is the logo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It just came to me.
A panty with the logo.
Manish coming soon.
It's gonna be a lifestyle brand. You might want to have a little bit of everything. My brand is a lifestyle brand.
Let's go into marketing. What do you do for? Well, obviously you already spoke about that in a way.
I mean,
you posted what you know how to do. That's when you started.
Yeah.
You posted what you know how to do, and that reminds me of Andrew Tate. I just saw. You know Andrew Tate? Oh, he's big on YouTube and whatever.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah, he was the most Google guy in the world, whatever. I was watching one of his videos on how he became successful. He made a business card, and in the back of the business card, it had everything. It had controversial stuff.
Oh.
Because he was one of the first guys that did the OnlyFans thing. It wasn't called OnlyFans. It was called something else, but he had a lot of girls, whatever. But, he had a lot of different controversial topics, things like that. And what he meant by doing that is just anybody who's willing to pay me whatever, I'll do whatever.
Okay.
Like my thing is just getting the money.
See, I ain't gonna do whatever.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right, I'm like, I ain't gonna do whatever.
That when you talk about it, I was like, oh shit.
I did have that mentality.
That makes sense though.
Yeah.
Just post what you know how to do.
What you know how to do. Now, in the beginning, I did have that mentality. I felt like I could help everybody. I felt like I never said no to a project, no matter what it was, whether I had never done it. Because there were things that I used to come in my wheelhouse that I've never done before.
Gotcha.
But I knew that I could execute it. Recently, I'm helping this girl in the dispensary world. Like, she's working, and I'm doing like these little leather covers for like your weed and like for your, like, just to make it like in like discreet or whatever. So I've done things that I've never done before, but I've never said no to a project. But what happened was I dealt with so many issues in business saying yes to everybody that I had to now, like when I do my consultations, we got a vibe. I won't work with anybody now. I'm very like, I don't know. If people are like on tight time frames, I might know because we take our time. First of all, we're not a big team. Like it's like 5 of us. So we take our time, we make sure the products are right. We make sure we go through the entire process. We don't take shortcuts. So sometimes people are in a rush and I'm just like, well, it says it on my website. It says it in our contracts. You're not gonna rush me because it's a design process. I have to understand you. You have to understand me. Just like today, like we might have something like, well, you saw one thing, I saw something else. Now we gotta go back, we gotta fix that, you know? But somebody's in a rush, they gonna try to curse me out. Well, I thought I was gonna, well, no one's wrong here. I saw one thing, you saw something else. Okay, let's fix it now. Let's change it to this now.
Yeah, I learned that.
Yeah, like that's the thing, but it's just like, but they will play the blame game and then everything is my fault. I'm like, well, this is what you told me to do.
I can see that happening with customers.
Yeah, I'm doing what you told me to do. And then they want their refunds, they want their money back. I'm like, you know how much time and work we put into this?
I can see that happening
too. I don't
too.
do the refund thing now. That's very clear because all the services have been rendered. Now, we will do our greatest efforts to correct everything, but you're never getting your money back because I'm always going to fulfill my contractual obligation regardless. But you get people who get upset, they want their money back. I firmly say no because the work has already been done. We can correct and we can fix. That's not a problem. But I've done literally everything I said I was going to do in my scope of work, and you approved it. It's not like I just did it once. You said yes. I have not like I'm just doing stuff.
So would you recommend that they take classes first before?
I do, but that's not always a thing.
I only say that because with our experience with me and my cousin right now, like whatever he had in his head or I had in my head,
it's different.
It's totally different from the picture we saw. Like, or we see everybody has a different mind, a different head. So when we see a picture or a drawing of what you have there. In my mind, I'm thinking something that's totally different from what you're thinking.
Absolutely.
And then when we see the product, we're like, no.
But that's why we have to go through the steps, though. But that's part of the process. So
when you're learning samples. The Zoom classes or whatever, you would learn right?
No. Actually, no, because the Zoom classes is mostly business focused. Okay. In order for you to learn design and pattern making and fabrics and stuff like that, that takes years of experience. So I don't think that taking those type of classes is going to help you any because it's not like you're going to learn fabrics overnight. You're not going to learn garment construction overnight. You
just got to do it.
Yeah, like that. That's something you have to constantly. I think it's more important to learn the business than it is to learn technical skills because if you know the business, you can direct anyone, not just me. There's other companies out there that you can work with too, but then you'll know how to direct them. Like, yeah, this is the type of seam I want. You might not be able to do that seam yourself, but if you know the business, you're like, okay, I know that this is the type of fabric, this is the type of construction, and pictures and actual reference samples are always great because like even if I have a sketch, but if I have something real in front of me, I'm like, okay, boom, I'm going to use this instead. Pictures are not great. Having physical pieces or whatever sometimes is great, but even though those don't always work because when I make it, I might make it out of a completely different fabric. Because like, I can get a polyester, but polyester looks like everything. I had to find the exact weight, the exact elasticity, which is very, very hard. Especially with fabrics that are coming from overseas. It's like, I might not be able to available on the market, but if you got it from a certain brand, they might only be the ones making that fabric, like Skims. You can't buy that fabric in the market. That is made for that brand. That Nike Tech stuff, you could probably find something close to it, but that stuff is made directly for Nike. They have the fabric suppliers to do that. So sometimes when people bring me stuff, I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to get this because they have a patent on that. That's not even available for me to get. I don't work for that company, So it's hard to understand anyone else's vision, but we get pretty damn close and we're able to execute, It just takes time, which is why I don't guarantee the time frames. I'm like, trust the process. Because what you think, and then I'm going to think you might meant something completely different. It's okay. I always tell people. But that's
the purpose of the meetings.
Of the process, yes. And I always tell people.
Meeting 3,
exactly.
meeting 4.
We do it until we get it right.
Boom, boom, boom.
Exactly. And I tell people all the time, and this is the one that I can't say enough. I said, we are making clothes. We are not curing cancer.
Where did you learn that part of it from? Was that just experience?
The product. Yeah,
and also, how important is mentorship? Like, who did you look up to when you were... who inspired you? Like with me, with music, it was Timbaland, Neptunes.
I would say for what I
business,
do.
You know what I'm saying? My uncles with business. I looked up to them.
Okay.
And if I was close to somebody, I would follow them and ask them questions. And I say that because I'm currently in the merchant services business too. I do the credit cards, the POSs. I set them up at locations. You know what I mean? And I have people ask me. People, I'm not gonna name them. People ask me, how do you do that business? I would like to do. Oh, you just follow me. I teach you. I know I've been doing it years.
Yeah.
Follow me. Watch me.
Yeah.
And I'll teach you.
I learned process from working though, because in the fashion industry, because I worked in the industry all my life, I know that people start building a collection a year and a half ahead of time because you go through the same amount of hiccups. Like when I worked at Ralph Lauren, in 2018. We were building out.
You have various mentors probably, I would imagine.
And we were building out 2020. So people who are making fashion brands, they're starting to those collections a year to 2 years ahead of time because that's how long that process takes to go through development, then to go through production. Like those things take time. I've been working in the industry and usually we got to go through 5 or 6 rounds of samples before we get it right. I've cut it down whereas like I could probably go through 2 or 3. I know how to get it closer in half the time because if we had to go to 5 or 6 rounds of samples, we'd be doing this for a long time. With us, we've only done 3. And then once this one, I think after that, we're good. But normally, because you have your reference sample, you have the fit sample, you have the PP sample, you have the TLP sample, then you got the salesman sample. I cut out a lot of those because I'm like, we don't need to go through that much just because I'm more experienced now. So I'm just like, we don't need to go through that many samples. Like we can nail it down in about 3 max. We can get it down to the because I've been doing it so long.
Gotcha.
Except for certain things like plus size usually takes a little bit.
So anybody big that you could say that you got inspired from? I mean, your grandma in the beginning. My grandma in the beginning. I would say all the companies I work for. One in particular, I would say was called Truth of Touch. Truth of Touch. We did mostly. One is a designer. Yeah, it was a licensing company too. We did like product development and production for Macy's, for Burlington, for Young Rich Nation. We used to do it when Migos had a clothing line. We did all of their clothing. I would imagine that being in Brooklyn too, you get inspired by everything around here too. Like the walls, the graffitis, and everything. It's like. You can get inspired by a lot of different things. The people that come to us, they're always inspired by something different. Me, I pull inspiration from 90s. A lot of my style is more retro. So when I design for a woman that is definitely a millennial. Our bodies are changing. I don't really make tight clothing. I make things that, make you feel sensual and sexy and beautiful, but at the same time, it's quality driven and it fits good. My biggest thing is fit, especially at my age. I'm 36. So my body changes. Our bodies are changing. We have to make sure that we have garments that we still feel sexy in, but also at the same time, we want a good fit. I want a good fit in clothes. I'm not a spring chicken. I'm not wearing tight ass clothes. That's just not my thing. And that's what a lot of fast fashion they sell. Like very tight, very revealing. Everything's out and I don't dress like that, And there's a lot of women in my age group that we don't dress like that. What's the most memorable thing any customer has said to you in the past? It's usually the tears for me. The what? The tears. It's the tears. The crying. When they come and they see the final garment and they cry. I've had somebody run around, literally ran. She's like, you got to follow me like with the camera with more. Like I've gotten a lot of tears, a lot of like, oh my God, I've had this vision for 5 years, 10 years. I've wanted this since I was a little girl. So I get a lot of hugs and a lot of cries. Like, wow, you really brought my vision to life. Nice. Yeah, you brought my vision to life. I get a lot of those. Any lessons or advice that you could give future entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs that has helped you in this business? Make sure you have or anything that you would do differently, probably. Differently, I would definitely have SOPs, standard operating procedures for the business. Okay. I think I went through a lot of shit with employees in the beginning because it was a lot. It was a lot. And I had 12 employees in the beginning. I learned that you don't necessarily need all those people. I thought because I had so many clients, I needed a whole lot of employees. Okay. What I found is when I had all those employees they weren't doing shit. So the productivity was not there. They was getting into it. So even having like human resources, like mediation, stuff like that, like they were getting into it about stupid shit. Like they were fighting about hangers and, somebody having their stuff on their desk, so like workplace acumen. Gotcha. So I think that was very hard for me in the beginning because I'm just used to people getting along. And then you put a lot of people in one room together from different backgrounds, they may not get along. So having a standard operating procedures, even down What is that exactly? So SOPs is basically like how you deal with stuff. Like if there's an employee conflict, this is what needs to happen.
if we get a customer complaint, this is how you handle it.
Okay, so you have a procedure.
Yeah, so having procedures, like if you want to take a day off, this is the procedure. If you make a mistake, this is what needs to happen. So having something in place on how to handle things, even down to like when a customer comes into here, this is how you greet them. This is what you say to them. This is what you talk. I did legal training for my team, so they know what they can and cannot say to customers too.
That helps like mold a system.
Yeah, like creating a system.
Because that works. That works.
Creating a system.
I've noticed that all the successful businesses have some sort of a system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Having and even like a workflow. Like the first thing in the process for us is the consultation. Once that consultation is done, now we go ahead and recreate those sketches. When the sketches are done, you have to send them for approval. So even down to like the amount of rounds of updates they get, down to the amount of times they get to choose fabric. So there has to be standard operating procedures, and then there has to be a certain level of customer service, to let them know, like, we hear you, we understand you. This can be very emotional for some people too, especially if they come in here and see something that is not what they had in mind. But I always have to remind people, I'm like, this is not the end. Like, we can, whatever you want to change, whatever you want to fix, it is a process. I think they come in sometimes and they feel like, this is not what I wanted. Okay, well, let's break it down. Let's figure out exactly what you want, and let's get it there. Opposed to having a non-solution oriented answer, like just mad, want to be upset. And I'm just like, I'm a solution oriented person. And in this process, you have to be, because like you said, everybody looks at things different. Design is subjective, art is subjective. I have to be able to understand your vision. So we have to talk through it. Okay, what's wrong? Okay, boom, this is a solution for that. What's wrong with that? Okay, this is a solution for that. But staying solution oriented and staying customer service driven. Like when they get emotional, I know what to say, especially for women. When they get emotional, I know what to say to get them off the edge. I'm like, okay, well, sweetheart. I think it's always in the way you deliver, the way you talk, assure them like, hey, we're in this together. Like this is a partnership. We will get it there, which is why I tell people, do not do photo shoots, do not plan, don't schedule anything until you have a product in your hand that you love. But also take it with you. Like today, sometimes you gotta take it with you. Sometimes you gotta sit on it. Sometimes you gotta ask other people, because sometimes you just don't know. I encourage that, especially when it comes to sizing. People are always like up and down with the size. I'm like, okay, go try it on 4 or 5 other people that are medium, and we'll find an equal medium. Just make sure you take a picture of whoever you try it on. Let's look at it, because you have to test it. And
so we can take that home?
Yeah, y'all take it on home. You have to put it on other people. You have to get other opinions. You have to see what other people's thoughts are, because sizing is hard. That's why people have a hard time finding clothes a lot of the time. But that is a part of the process, like doing fittings with other people and trying to get to the final product. That's what development is. And then when it's perfect, then we go into production.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now, if you weren't doing this, what were you doing? I know that this is like the thing, is just God put it like this. This is the way it's supposed to be.
I think I'd be teaching full time.
You'd be a teacher?
I'm already a professor, so I would probably be a full-time professor.
You'd probably be a teacher.
I'd probably be a full-time professor, but I would want to travel to different countries and teach.
Nice.
If that makes sense. Like, I want people to know, because I feel like sometimes...
You leave a legacy by doing that.
Yeah. I feel like sewing is like, I ain't going to say it's a lost art, because there's a lot of people that do it, but if you know how to do that, you will always make money. If you know how to sew, you know how to put some shit together. If you know how to put some stuff together, whether it's alterations, it's doll clothes, you want to make pillows, rugs, blankets. If you know how to put things together and you can turn something into nothing, you will always have
Put something together, turn something into nothing.
Take a flat piece of, like, people see a blanket and can make a coat out of it.
You have to have it in you.
Yeah, like, because I can look at a blanket on the couch and say, I'm going to make a coat out of that. Yeah, I'm going to make a jacket out of that. Like, it's literally...
But in business in general, not just fashion, you have to have it in you to be inspired to create something out of nothing.
Exactly.
And I would say, like, follow it somehow.
Yeah.
And like, when people ask me, how do you do this? Follow me, but they don't.
No,
there's a lot that don't.
People talk a lot. I'm used to the... people say a lot of stuff, but do they actually act on it? No. You have to be able to... Like this. This was 3 different studios. I looked at the first one. I said, that's not big enough.
Yeah.
I'll say, oh, that one's not big enough. None of these studios are big enough. Can you put a hole in the wall for me? That's literally what I asked them to do. Put a hole right there. Now put another hole in that wall, because now it goes the whole hallway. This wasn't there. I said, I need an office. I need a separate space for myself. I need to make an office right here. Oh, these walls are too blank. I need color. I need to put some black girls on this wall. So it's like, I even changed the floors. But when I came in here, I saw the potential of what it could be. I knew that it needed new floors. I knew that I needed white walls. I knew that I needed artwork. I knew the space wasn't big enough, so I needed to extend to that way. Then I need to extend even more, which is now I have this whole side of the hall. But if you can look literally at something that's blank, and be like, you know what? I can work with this because you can see what it could be, if that makes sense. And I saw what it could be, and I turned it into that.
That's you back there, right?
Yeah.
That's a nice picture.
Thank you. This is my coat. I make outerwear.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. What was that for?
It was for a photo shoot for that outerwear line.
Outerwear.
Yeah, I did an outerwear line. And then I was in that magazine. They gave me like an entrepreneurship award. It's in Philly. So
wow.
And then that's just a close up of it right in front of me.
Congrats.
Thank you. Right in front of me, I make bags. I had bags in front of me too, but you can't see them from that.
What did I tell you when I first saw you? You remember when you walked in? What did I tell you?
You got surprised for me?
Yeah.
What's the surprise now?
All right, so you remember I told you that, my background's in beats, I make music, you know what I'm saying? So I got something for you. I'm going to play it for you. Tell me what you like.
Okay.
So there's 2 different ideas I got here. Mm-hmm. And I got the lyrics. So basically, because this show, honestly, it's called Dishes2Riches. It means, dishes could mean, it's a metaphor. Mm-hmm. It could mean, thoughts and ideas, or it's a plate. Mm-hmm. 2 riches, 2 ideas, to something to nothing, like you said. You know what I'm saying? My passion's with music. Mm-hmm. I'm doing currently the merchant services with POS, equipment and credit card processing. Mm-hmm. Merge it all into one. Help you out too. Okay. We all work together, right? So this is a song that we wrote, me and my cousin Kelvin. There's 2 ideas. You tell me which one you like best.
Okay.
I'm Lenese Calleea, stitched with a vision. Cut through doubt like I tailor precision. From the needle to the gram, I thread my name. Turning fabric into fire, this ain't no game. Pins in my palm, I design with a mission. Building whole brands from a fitted ambition. Seems tight, dreams right, watch me lead ya. You ain't missed out till you met Calleea. Just in my spirit, birds in my soul.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the goal. A needle in hand and a vision that's bold. Turn closets to catwalks and cartons to gold. That's just in my spirit, threads in my soul. Turn fabric to power. Yeah, that's the goal. A needle in hand and a vision that's bold. Turn closets to catwalks and cartons to gold.
Lenese Calleea, known as the fashion fairy godmother, is a multifaceted fashion designer, educator, mentor, and entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience in fashion design and garment creation. She has evolved from a young seamstress to an aimlessly expert and creative mogul. Tap in now. LeneseCalleea.com,
I'm gonna put the beat in the background.
where fashion finds fire and features stay strong.
I like this. Okay.
The beat is great. Now this is just, now keep in mind, you know how you do the mocks? Or you show me something when I first came here, I fit it on, I'm like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Because I don't know where your head is at.
Right.
That's a mock.
Uh-huh.
This is a mock.
I like it.
So it's going to be bigger. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
I'm going to take that idea now. Uh-huh. That's the raw idea. Now I'm really, let's say you like that one. So now I'm going to really put my drums into it. The snare's going to sound like this.
Right.
Put like real instruments to do this and that.
I would put this on my website.
Yeah, and then you could market it. But I'm going to make a video to it too.
Okay.
So I'm saying I'm going to film. It could be Brooklyn. You
Okay.
could film it in Chicago.
Okay.
Parts in Chicago, that's your background, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We'll film here in Chicago, and it's just to
I
show
like
the whole
that.
upbringing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
I like it.
Word. So it's gonna be crazy.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah.
That is really
so
cool.
the other idea is just a little more mellow version of it.
Okay.
But same thing pretty much.
Same lyrics?
Yeah.
In my palm, I design with a mission. Building whole brands from a fitted ambition. Seems tight, dreams
This
right,
one
watch
also
me
is good.
lead ya. You ain't messed out till you met Calleea. Stitches in my spirit, threads in my soul. Turn fabric to power, yeah, that's the goal. A needle in hand and a vision that's bold. Turn closets to catwalks and cotton to gold. Got stitches in my spirit, threads in my soul. Turn fabric to power, yeah, that's the goal. A needle in hand and a vision that's bold. Turn closets to catwalks and cotton to gold.
I like this.
Known as the fashion fairy godmother.
And I see it.
I love
Multifaceted
this.
fashion designer, educator, mentor, and entrepreneur. With over 2 decades of experience in fashion design and garment creation, she has evolved from a young seamstress to an industry expert and creative mogul. Tap in now.
I love this.
LeneseCalleea.com, where fashion
Should be on a commercial. I'm like, this needs to be on a commercial. I love it. I like them both.
Yeah.
I like the upbeat,
but
I
now
like
that the speaker sounded
I'm
right.
Lenese Calleea, stitched with a vision. Cut through doubt like I tailor precision. From the needle to the gram, I thread my name. Turning fabric into fire, this ain't no game.
I am more upbeat person though.
With a mission.
I said I'm a more upbeat
From a
person,
fitted
so.
ambition. Seems tough dreams right, watch me lead you.
I like
You ain't
it.
missed out till you met Callie.
We could do both, you know, while focus on one, and then the second one you can use it for Instagram and now.
Okay, yeah, I love that.
Because it's good the way it sounds too.
Yeah, it is.
Good.
I like
In my soul, turn fabric to power. Yeah, that's the
The
goal.
fabric to
Ain't
power, I know
needle
that's
in
right.
hand and a vision.
If there's anything else you want to add to future entrepreneurs,
Well, thank you
or
for
people that
having
watch
me.
you know,
Never stop
What?
creating.
never stop creating.
Never
That's
stop
it.
creating.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Dishes2Riches. Follow her page as well.
Lenese Calleea.
That's it. Stay tuned.
Oh my God, I love the song. The song is a hit. The song is a hit, okay?